Hello everybody, thanks for checking out this video. I hope you are prepared for a small dose of chaos because there will be quite a bit of that in this episode, which is episode 22 already in my ongoing series about unpopular philodendrons. And it will be almost exclusively about this beautiful philodendron deflexum. And I said almost exclusively because some other plants have also invited themselves in this pot. And I will show you in a minute how those companion plants got in there. But first it's time for some chaos because this pot will be falling over right now. So yesterday, when I chose this particular philodendron for this episode, it looked like a bit of a mess, because although the plant as such seemed to be in good shape, it had clearly outgrown the small stick that I gave it, to the point where it was on the verge of snapping off its top if I didn't do anything right away. I also noticed that the plant was all alone in this pot, while I had an army of cuttings prepared to fight for their chance in some soil. And by the way, here you can see how this deflexum casually is showing off its new growth. It's a full circle surrounding the newest leaf that it's currently working on. So yesterday, instead of filming, I decided to give this plant a full makeover. And I started by rewarding it with this big moss bowl that turned out to be just the right size for this specific plant. Now, I could have easily called it a day after that, but remember that this pot had some space left to house some extra cuttings that had been rooting for ages in water, and they were hungry for some good old soil. So first I checked some old Cebu blue cuttings, and some had some decently sized roots, but then I noticed this guy here, with these very long roots and with a third leaf already unfurling. So this just had to be my first soldier to be sent to the battlefield. And I also found a second one with quite good roots and planted both of them together very close to the moss bowl. More empty space in the pot meant that this philodendron Sancta Martinense cutting that had spent more time in water than most fish ever do would also get an opportunity to compete with the philodendron deflexum in the same pot. In other words, making a video about the plant turned out to be a great opportunity to fix the plant and to give it at the same time some companions for the road. Okay, back to the deflexum that has these bright green glossy and veined leaves that feel soft as a blanket when you touch them. This plant I bought almost 2 years ago. Back then it only had 3 leaves. I paid $30 for it and it is my oldest Ecuagenera import. By the way, remember the full circle from yesterday's footage? Well, overnight the plant broke the circle and released the new leaf, as if to thank me for the good care that I finally gave it. This philodendron is an accepted species that was first published a long time ago in 1856, and it's a climbing epiphyte. Now in Latin, deflexum means bend it downwards, and that's exactly what the petioles of this plant do. And miraculously, I have never propagated this plant, so there's plenty of leaves to show you how they are bending downwards. It's a philodendron that can be found mainly in Peru, and apparently its leaves can become very long, up to 90 centimeters long. Now let's talk a bit about the care for this plant. In my experience, this is a very resilient and easy care philodendron. Here you can see where it's usually hanging out, quite close to a growing light and surrounded by a forest of other houseplants to create some group humidity. For watering, normally I let this plant dry out completely, but with the 2 new plants in the pot, I won't be doing that for a little while, I guess. So overall, this is a great, unpopular and inexpensive philodendron that I like a lot. Alright, that's all for this episode. Thank you very much for watching it. If you enjoyed it, please consider liking it and or subscribing to my channel. For now, I wish you a very nice day. Bye bye.